Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sulk stream. I am your host, the incredible Sulk. And, yeah, I'm okay now. I'm fine now. I'm better now. Day wave was a little rough for me this morning. I'm sure you understand why. If you're a longtime viewer of this show, or even saw it last night, it doesn't matter. How you doing? I hope you guys are good. I hope you guys are out there achieving your dreams, making me proud, being strong, doing the things, doing all the things. You know, we keep getting older. We have aspirations and we want to achieve things, but you're not gonna, because you're wasting your life watching this show. I'm just kidding. Please don't leave. It's all I have. That and my wife and kids and stuff. Anyways, so now we're talking about the law of attraction, the secret, as it were. We have covered this on the show before, but you know, we're doing it again from a different angle. There's like 300 plus. There's 351 episodes. You know, how many subjects are there? But here we go. We're going to be doing this one from a different point of view. If you guys don't know what the law of attraction is, it is believe and you will achieve, which you kind of understand why that would be, for the most part, nonsense. There is a flake of truth. There is a little bit of truth, but I will get into that as we dive in to the video. It's only 11 minutes long, so I'm gonna see if I can talk for basically 2 hours straight. I don't know if I'll be able to do it, guys. That doesn't sound like me. I'm usually pretty tight-lipped around these parts. Usually don't have too much to say. But you guys know that. You guys know old tight-lipped John. Doesn't say much sulk. That's what they call me. That's what I tell them to call me. Anyways, thanks for coming. I hope you guys had a great day. A fantastic day. The best day you've ever had. Until tomorrow. Anyways, why do we continue to mess around? Why do we dawdle? Why? What is the point of that? I'm not sure. Oh, song change. All right. We're going to roll with it. Anyways, guys, we might as well get going. So get comfy. Get cozy. Get yourself a nice bathrobe. Maybe a big thick blanket that you've had since you were a kid. Get next to the fire and turn that bitch up because it is cold out there in Florida. It's usually not that cold, but it's like, what is it? It's like 50 degrees outside. And I don't want you guys saying, oh, that's not cold, because I don't care how uncomfortable you are, right? That's not my, I can't help that, and I have no, so I'm sorry that it's much colder for you, but, sucks. That sucks. Anyways, get a bottle of something nice. Hang out with somebody you like, or not. If you're working, keep working. If you are driving, please keep driving. That's very important. Anyways, I am the Incredible Sulk. This is a Sulk stream, and this is called The Worst Self-Help Book of All Time, which I can definitely understand why it is. So, let's switch that and enjoy.
In 2006, Rhonda Byrne released
The Secret.
The Secret?
The Secret.
A self-help book revealing how to fulfill your deepest desires.
Okay.
It has sold 35 million copies and translated into 50 languages, and is also complete BS.
It's The Secret. Okay. It's what Karens buy, and they because they're on their first divorce and stuff like that. You know the type of lady I'm talking about? She has that very specific haircut. I don't know if that's like a genetic trait or what's going on, but you walk into her apartment and it's clean. Everything is white. Very like very white. Also, there's like things in the kitchen that says like, love and wine, and there's like cat memorabilia, and she's also got a copy of The Secret, and she thinks that's going to help her. It doesn't. It helped relieve her of $30 or something like that when she bought it, but beyond that, it doesn't. Let's get a little bit further into it. Okay, we're going to a little further into it.
Contains ineffective advice that, if implemented, can harm the reader more than help them.
And unfortunately, some people died. She had stage 3 breast cancer and just decided that through The Secret, she was going to imagine herself a healthy person.
Couldn't even make it to stage 4. You couldn't do stage 4, right? I mean, you die from stage 3 and you're like, damn. Couldn't make it all the way to stage 4. And you had all that time.
Yeah. And
that should show you The Secret doesn't work, because she was probably envisioning that she had cancer and it was going to eat away at her bones and her liver and her brain. And, she couldn't make it all the way to stage 4. If I'm dying from cancer, I'm going to go for the most cancer I can. I'm going stage 5 minimum. Stage 5 cancer. That's when my cancer becomes like contagious, and I like cough on people, and then they get cancer. That's stage 5 cancer.
No, she eventually wound up dying from it because she didn't get treatment.
Yeah, it's still
background noise says no one called me. I almost slept through the sulk. Yeah, don't let that happen. No, because I get irrationally angry.
Praised and sold to new readers.
So,
if you have read this book, I beg you to watch this entire video.
I know where you live.
Because your perspective of what you're...
Oh, by the way, when people donate to me on PayPal, I get their full name, and then I look that up, and then I pinpoint where they live and stuff. Because I have to know. I have to know. It's part of our religion that I have to have your full details. And your social security number. And, other... like sensitive information about you. All right. And don't act like that, nobody has that, because most people do. Your phone number, things like that, your bank account details. Just send it to me so it's in safekeeping. Okay?
Red will be flipped on its head. And to do this,
I'll give this
let's take a good look.
I'll give that the bell. Hold on. Here's the bell. Ardenshire gifted a subscription. Thank you, Ardenshire. I appreciate that.
What this book actually says.
Hey, Tumadri.
The secret is the law of attraction.
If I had to summarize the main idea of The Secret to you...
We did do... This is a documentary, and we did do it. I think it's free on YouTube. Let me just check real quick. Yep, right there. And if we run out of time doing this one, then we'll hop on over to it. So you watch a little bit of that too.
It would be the law of attraction. This law states that the thoughts you think directly affect the quality
Another
of your
one,
life.
Ardenshire.
So if you begin thinking positive thoughts, it would manifest into positive outcomes. The same goes for negative thoughts. When you think negatively, it will lead to negative outcomes.
Thank you for the 2. I appreciate that.
So for example, say you want to get rid...
How do those work? Do they just go to like anybody? Because I did that on Pessy's stream. I did like 10, and then it just kind of doled them out. I don't know how
According
it works.
to the law, if you manifest the idea of gaining money and suppressing the idea of losing it, you will
There's
over
gifts
time
every
gain
night,
the ability
Scott.
to reach that goal.
My words are your gifts. My words are your gifts.
If you see it in
You're
here,
welcome.
You're going to hold it here.
You're welcome.
The book also promises that
It works every time with every person.
it seems good on
Yeah, it must be random. It must be random. And, yeah.
paper, and the idea that simply thinking about your desires will create them sounds
Scott's part of the club now? All right.
extremely
All
appealing.
right.
However, once you sit
Fine,
down
I
and
guess
think
you
about this
can
logically,
hang out with us,
the
Scott.
idea starts to fall apart. Of course,
For a bit.
positive thinking is not a bad thing.
I mean, he did give me $25 last night, so.
It is a very important tool
And I know his real name.
for success.
It's
Doing so
Jeffrey.
will keep you strong in the face of adversity and help you maintain a healthy life and personality. However, the law of attraction is extreme because it states that positive thinking alone can bring you success.
It's like saying, I am going to be a bodybuilder.
So, like, lots of people think positively. I mean, you can think positively all you want, and that will make your life better. But it's just thinking. It's just thinking. You actually have to like do stuff in the real world for it to actually happen. Unless you're schizophrenic or something, or have some sort of like brain disorder that makes you interpret things differently. Yeah, I mean, that could happen. That could work. But no one else sees your dreams come true. And it might not be your dreams. It might be your nightmares and stuff. So, it's a double-edged sword.
Because I drink water.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you... Okay.
If this worked, Joe Rogan wouldn't be 5'2". He is pretty small.
Where do I start? You should drink water, and it will help you if you want to be a bodybuilder. But I've talked to all these bodybuilders, and the one thing they have in common is they all drank water, and they knew that if they drank
water with Dianabol and like Trenbolone in it and stuff like that, Anavar, the good water, right? The power water that is not legal.
They would be giant. They'd be giant, huge people.
That's all you got to do.
Okay, but did they...
Jeez, it takes so much work to get that buff, dude.
They also...
Not just work, but also tons of steroids. Like, lots and lots of steroids. Like, enough steroids where you're like, I can't take any more steroids. I'm full of steroids. I can't take any more. And then they just keep jamming more steroids in themselves.
Perform reps to failure? Did they also take steroids? Did they also do these exercises, squats, deadlifts, curls? Did they do all that stuff too? Yes, but the water.
And the book goes ahead and states that you should take time out of your day just to manifest your desires. In the documentary of the same name, they say if you want your dream car, literally sit in your armchair and pretend you were driving it.
So, okay. Let's say your roommate has a copy of The Secret, and you walk in on him one day, and he's got his headphones on, and his eyes are closed, and he's just doing this. He's just doing that. I feel like, get the fuck out, dude. Get out, right? I'm evicting you. You're just doing this. Oh, I wanted a car. No, man. No, we know what you were doing. Okay.
Fantasizing about your dream car may make you feel good,
Brandon.
but by itself will do little in helping you actually get it. Another issue with the law of attraction is the idea of suppressing negative ideas and thoughts.
Oh boy, I wish I could do that. I wish I could not be so like manic all the time and like overthink scenarios and have a bunch of anxiety about the future and a bunch of depression about the past. If The Secret really worked, I would do that. I would just tell my brain, hey, knock that shit off. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's never worked. Oh, it's just because you believe it doesn't work. Oh. Okay. Well, then you tell my brain to do it. Can you do that? Can you tell my brain to knock off all that depression and anxiety shit? That'd be great. That'd be great for the both of us. Can you do that? Do you have that power? Because I clearly don't. Apparently, my brain is just off on a walkabout or something like that, and I'm sitting here. I have no control over my brain. Does anybody? Besides, like, monks and stuff who can, like, meditate and, like, leave their body. Monks can do some really weird things with their body when they meditate. Like, stay in ice cold conditions and, like, sit there and steam and stuff. And like raise and lower their heartbeat. This is real. It's a very real thing that happens. But that takes years of training, right? You can't just buy a book and be like, oh, I just forgot to tell myself not to be miserable and suicidal every day. That's the of course. And then the next day they're just hanging from the rafter like this. Just swing more, right? Because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Not everybody's a millionaire. They're not. You think if this worked? Sorry. I just had Chinese food. Not Chinese food. No, that was Chinese food. You don't think... You know what I did? I manifested Chinese food. I thought about Chinese food. And then I got in my car. And then I drove to the Chinese food place. Then I ordered it off a menu, and then they brought it to me, and I ate it, and then I paid for it, and then I left. I did that with my mind. I did all of that with my mind and my credit card and like a bunch of other things that I had to put together to, but all I needed to do was think about it. That's all I needed to do. And I manifested chicken hibachi. I had chicken tonight. I usually get steak. That's what I did. It works, guys. I had a vision board, and it had hibachi on it, and those little gyoza that are so good. They're little pork filled, like empanadas almost. And they had a sweet potato roll, and I was all like, I'm imagining this. I am imagining this. And then it just appeared in front of me after a lot of work, after a lot of focused work. It appeared in front of me. But it was just my brain that did that. Isn't that amazing? Go ahead. Start chewing on a napkin and be like, this napkin is a cheeseburger. And then boom. Right there. Maybe there is something to this, though. Thinking about something repeatedly over a long period of time is a good way of trying to achieve that goal, right? But you need to think about it and then take action in that direction. They're not giving you that second step, right? Thinking about it is important. And when you think about something, you're all like, you know what? I should really go to the gym. And then you go to the gym. You don't think about, I should go to the gym, and then immediately get like muscle mass from it. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. Not at all.
Though it may appear innocent,
I am pretty
suppressing
amazing.
negative emotions on a psychological level is a very bad idea. To prove this, I want you to look at this polar bear. Stay with me.
Arden Shire says visualization is part of NLP, but the secret skips a lot of steps, like taking action and not being a fuck up. Well, yeah, of course. That's why The Secret was such a popular book for Karens, right? Because they want to have everything, but not change anything about their life. Because remember, these Karens think they're perfect already. And the only reason they don't have the objects that they desire or the life that they desire is simply because of everyone else's fault. So all they have to do is think about it, and then it works. What is NLP? What is that? What is that?
I'm going somewhere with this. Now, I want you to stop thinking about that bear. Try your hardest to remove it from your brain and just...
Strawberry says, yes, you cannot manifest something that is against God's will or the laws of nature. Shocker. Well, yeah. That goes without saying. I mean, but who knows? Maybe I can turn into some... maybe if I thought hard enough and everybody around me thought hard enough that I was a kitty cat, then I would turn into a kitty cat. Is that what this whole trans movement is about? These people just like, I'm a girl, and they click their heels together. And then everyone around them, if they don't accept that they're a girl, then they're bigots or something like that. No, you're still a dude. You're still a bro. You know, you're like big and scary, and you have those eyes that look like you're going to murder someone. It's... Every time I see them, they have the eye, you know, the sanpaku eyes. Like that, where you can see the tops and the bottoms of the sclera. Or maybe like just the bottom. It's really creepy. I've never seen a trans person who is looking okay. And I'm not talking physically. I'm talking about the soul in their eyes. Not okay. Not doing okay. Not once have I seen that. Where you look in somebody's eyes and be like, this person is not crazy. Because I know you can tell. You can tell. I can tell. Everyone can tell. If you're crazy, you got this look about you. Sanpaku eyes. Look that up. That's a real thing. It's when you have the crazy eyes. Right? The crazy eye. Like somebody's going to fucking stab you. Or something like that.
Suppress it. Don't think about the bear. Did it work?
Art and Chair says neurolinguistic programming. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But just from the name, I kind of understand what it's going for. Like you talk about something in a certain way and it becomes true or something. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Of course, you were still thinking about it, no matter how hard you tried. But why? This was what Russian author Fyodor Dostoevsky was thinking, and realized that no matter how hard he tried, you will see that the cursed thing will come to mind every minute.
I say.
Yeah, go ahead. Try not to think about Sulk. Me, John, if you prefer. Try not to think about me. Starting now. If you thought about me, say something in the chat. I don't know. Press F in the chat or something. It's pretty hard to do. I know it's pretty difficult because I'm like right here and I'm talking to you. And, but it's difficult not to think about me. You can't not think about something just by saying, I don't want to think about something. It's like the internet. What is that thing? The Streisand effect. Years ago, Barbra Streisand tried to get a specific picture of herself off of the internet because she didn't like it. But the internet doesn't work like that. And so people copied it and reposted it and said that Streisand doesn't want this around. And then it got even bigger. So it's like the opposite happens. The same thing happens in your head. When you try not to think about something or actively push it out of your mind, you're actually putting resources to that specific thought and more mental energy towards that specific thought. So it becomes bigger. It becomes heavier. Like more energy goes into that thought. And so it's even more difficult to get rid of. You have to just deal with it. You have to, if you want to get rid of a thought, address it and let it move on by. This is the entire concept behind meditation. This is what meditation is. It's about trying to be not controlling of your brain, but just be the awareness that notices your brain. And just watch thoughts pop up because they pop up randomly, and then watch them fade away because they will fade away as long as you don't put more resources into trying to forget things.
Just like whores. So if you have a thought, you throw $20 and it'll go away.
No, whores will follow you. Whores,
Like
yeah.
a stray dog in a third world country.
Yeah, that's like they're gonna be like, this guy's dropping 20s. I'm gonna follow him, right? And then you just like a line back to your house. Didn't get rid of them. Sorry. And now there's like 20 whores outside. They're meowing all night. Yeah, exactly. Throw a shoot at them. Right? Get out of here. What are you gonna do? Right? You can't give it. You can't just force yourself to think like that. How much control do people actually have over their brains?
A lot.
I'm not even sure that's true.
We just do not.
What about schizophrenic people? Could they just be like, I'm not schizophrenic anymore?
Is that a normal brain, though? Like, is that a normal...
What is a normal brain?
Oh, come on. You're such an ass. Like, you know what I mean. Schizophrenia is not super common, right? So... But the normal person, yes, I feel like you can train your brain. You can. People are just weak.
I don't know. I don't think people have that much control over their brain. Otherwise, people would be smarter, right? Wouldn't you be smarter? Let's say you're a normal brain, but you're just fucking stupid. If you can really control, like manifest yourself, wouldn't you have better ideas? Wouldn't you have the ability to have better ideas and not be so fucking stupid? No? Is that not how it works? Yeah, no shit, because it's not just imagine things and then things will happen. I know it could be a lot more complicated. And I could dive in about how our perception of the world around us is the actual things, and things don't actually exist until we like observe them and like quantify them and like feel them and stuff. That is true. That is true. But that doesn't mean that I can just choose the shape and weight and properties of an object just because I imagined it to be so. There has to be some sort of consensus amongst all the observers. And what an observer is, I don't know yet. I don't know what that is. I know I'm one, but do I know that each and every one of you is also one? No, I don't think that's true. I think there's probably a... Not everybody has a soul. I'm sorry. There's NPCs out there. There are legitimately NPCs out there. I guarantee it. Maybe not you guys, right? This is kind of a small group, so it's, not necessarily... You guys could all be actual player characters. But there are people out there that don't have internal monologues. They don't have a voice in their head explaining ideas and like concepts and like laying out for them to understand. They don't have that. How? Me and Jess have talked about this before. How do you not have like an internal monologue? How do you not think in words? But apparently,
I don't believe that. I don't believe people don't have that. How could you not?
No, apparently it's true.
Can you think and
No,
not have it? I don't understand.
I don't know. Pictures, smells. I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
Blows my mind because
No, but it's like 80% of people don't.
No.
Yeah.
It's not that high.
It is. It is.
No.
So I have to look it up.
Because like I've had an internal monologue. I've been cognizant of my internal monologue since I was a child. Like,
Yeah, but you have one.
Thinking like in my head and like not hearing it, but you know what I mean.
I can't spell. I don't know. Why some people don't have an inner monologue. We're gonna listen to it. Here, Joyce, you can listen. We're here. We're gonna figure this out.
Maybe it shouldn't be surprising that writers give so many superheroes, alien beings, and magical creatures the power of telepathy. Just imagine what you could learn about a person if you could hear their thoughts. Well, actually, I've just made a bit of an assumption.
This guy's a cuck, right? He's like a cuck. Or like, is he queer? You queer? You queer boy?
Low T.
You queer boy?
Low T.
Right? I'm going to go bully this guy. I'm going to be like, I'm going to snap his glasses and stuff like that. And go high five people afterwards. and then I'll take the girl home and bang her. He's gay though, right? He's gay, so he doesn't care about that part.
It doesn't matter. He looks weak.
He does look weak. There's no chin. No chin, no win, fellas.
It's not,
No chin, no win.
No, it's not just that. It's just look how clean shaven and soft. Looks soft, like a squishamallow.
Like a squishamallow? Like some sort of weird Pokemon? A gay Pokemon.
Okay, he's gay. Jeez. All right, let's watch this.
He's a Pokemon.
Assumption that there would be something to hear. Because not everyone has that kind of internal monologue, or what psychologists often refer to as inner speech. And even people who do hear their thoughts don't necessarily talk in their heads 24/7. It turns out that inner speech could tell us a lot about how our brains work, how they develop, and how we speak. But research on all of this is really just getting started. Inner speech is somewhat loosely defined as when a person speaks meaningful thoughts without producing sound or moving any part of their body, like their tongue or their lips. So in some ways, it's
Obviously. Yeah, well, I
How
mean,
do you not do that?
No, I speak in my head without moving or somebody speaks in my head. It's constantly like, kill that person, kill that person.
No, it's me. It sounds like me.
Oh, that's what it is.
No, I'm not in your head. I'm in my head.
She's talking, and I thought that was my inner monologue. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are my thoughts like this? It's totally irrational. Yeah. Go on.
It's easier to define by what it isn't. It's different from visualizing or picturing things in your head, and it does not include feelings like happiness or hunger or your awareness of sensory experiences.
It's true. I don't say, if I'm happy, my head doesn't say, you're happy, act accordingly. And then I dance around saying I'm happy. No, those are brain chemicals that are released that are usually the result of drugs or something like that. Oh my God.
So annoying.
She's terrible. That cat. Shut up. Can you feed her? It's
like noticing the glint of something shiny on the ground. So basically, it only refers to thoughts accompanied by specific words. These words usually have the same tone, inflection, and even accent that they would if they were spoken aloud, though not always, which...
What is you?
Like, I'll like hear myself talk like this in my head, like just like that.
You have a different accent?
No, like I talk exactly.
I burped in my head.
No, that was out here. See, you're getting things mixed up.
Well, we could watch the replay. I'm recording this right now, but I'm pretty sure that burp was in my mind. I have mind gas. She went to go feed the cat because that cat won't shut up. Let's listen more.
To in a bit. Even figuring that much out about inner speech was somewhat of a challenge for psychologists because, surprise, it's really hard to measure people's internal experiences. So there's been a lot of variation in research methods.
Ardenshire says it's at least one, possibly 70% don't think internally. Yeah, it's probably something like that, where people don't plan out. They don't think out. They don't hear themselves thinking. They react on emotion, on crowd dynamics, on what they think that people are very social animals. And so they will act according to what is acceptable in their social group. So there's no real thinking required at all. There's just an expectation for their behavior, and then they will do that, right? There's no thought processes going. 90%, most of the time, people don't have to think about stuff. Especially these days, you really don't have to think about much. If you're hungry, you're not going to be like, what am I going to do? I'm so hungry. No, you just act on it. It's impulse.
And not a lot of agreement between different studies and different scientists. For example, some studies have tried to see inside people's heads by prompting them to hear specific words or phrases in their mind, like by asking them to read something silently or determine if two words rhyme without saying them out loud. That's revealed some weird quirks about inner speech, like that when people read, they're actually much more likely to mentally say single words that represent a passage than every word of every sentence. But prompted inner speech and spontaneous inner speech aren't really the same. Plus, prompts can't tell us much about how frequently or why people use inner speech in their daily life. So some researchers use questionnaires instead. According to those, these conversations we have with ourselves are generally about ourselves and kind of in a bad way.
Oh, I hate how accurate that was. Yes, that's extremely accurate. And when I hear voices, not voices. Yes, it's a voice. And he's an asshole. He's an asshole to me, right? And he tells me what I'm doing wrong and why I failed in certain aspects of my life and how I'm going to fail again in the future. He's just a fucking jerk, and he doesn't have a lot of positive shit to say.
Most of the time, our inner...
Maybe it's a mental illness or a demon or something like that. Demons exist. I'm pretty sure about that. But I don't... Maybe it's not, though.
Speech consists of negative things about ourselves, our negative emotions, or us trying to decide if we're good enough. And weirdly enough, that is all usually in full sentences. Only about 1/3 of people experience abbreviated inner speech.
Art and Sherry says, what's trippier is when you realize that the internal voice you have isn't you. It's not. I mean, it's not. It's okay. That inner voice, what I think that is your awareness. That is your player character. That is your, you can call it a soul or something like that. But it is not specifically you. It's not the meat brain in your head, right? Without that, you can operate perfectly fine and you can make your way through life and not have that in your head. Apparently, a lot of people do it. But that speaking is your awareness, which I think doesn't die, but it is not technically you. It's something that is driving you. It's something otherworldly. It's like a soul, right? And it just makes sense that most people don't have souls or are NPCs or that kind of concept. So, yeah. Is it you? Yes and no. It is you, but it's not you. But it is the most at its core essence you. But it's not you. That doesn't make any fucking sense. It does, though. It does make sense. I'm not communicating it properly.
Where a single word or phrase represents an entire complex thought. So the opposite of what happens when we read. Questionnaires have also tried to get to the question of how often people engage in inner speech, but they have a few limitations. Perhaps the most glaring is that people generally aren't great at being aware of their inner experiences. So questionnaires probably overestimate the frequency of inner speech. More recently, researchers have started using a procedure called descriptive experience sampling, or DES, instead. With DES, people carry a beeper that goes off randomly throughout the day, and when it does, they write down some notes about exactly what was going on in their head at that moment.
Oh, I don't want to participate in that. No. I would not, I don't think I'd be honest. I'd be like, no, I'm not going to tell you about that. Right? It would go off in the most inopportune time. Right, like I'm having some sort of like conniption or like some sort of stroke about some shit that happened in my past, or you know, some anxiety that I'm worried about in the future, and I don't want to write that down. I don't want that to be on paper. You know, I don't want that out in the world. No.
Like when you're sitting across from your friend and you're like, what you thinking about? It's not perfect. Some researchers think
Background
that DES
noise.
goes too far. And
Background noise says, I accidentally set mine to Swedish and I don't know how to change it back. You have to go into the settings, right? And then you have to hold down the power button and then or does that take a screenshot? Yeah, I don't know. You might just be hearing a lot of Swedish from now on. I don't know how to help you. I don't know how to, yeah. Sucks.
Underestimates inner speech, for example.
Sucks.
But it is giving scientists a better sense of how many people hear their thoughts and how often. And it is revealed that inner monologues, like most things in psychology, are on a spectrum. Very few people have no inner speech at all, and very few people engage in it 100% of the time. DES studies suggest that 70 to 85% of people experience some kind of spontaneous inner speech, at least occasionally. And of those people, most of them are talking to themselves about 15 to 30% of the time. It's also possible to have more than one internal experience simultaneously. So you might be visualizing something and talking to yourself about it. And inner speech varies in other ways too. While a lot of people talk about this in terms of internal monologues, about 75% of people report that sometimes they're having back and forths in their head. They usually play both parts in the conversation, though. Only about 25% of people report that other people show up in their inner speech. People who have...
Why do other people have to show up in your inner speech? Who else is there? Who else is there? I mean, I'll have back and forth conversations, but they're both me. It's both me. I'm just playing devil's advocate, or I'm like rehearsing for a conversation, or I'm thinking of an old conversation when I should have said, I said this instead of I should have said this. And I was like, and then sometimes I laugh. Sometimes I laugh audibly out. And then people look at me because I've been sitting there silently and there's nothing on. I don't have headphones. And then I just sit there and then I start laughing, right? And then people get worried, right? But it's not, I just made myself laugh in a hypothetical conversation that did not exist in this reality, all right? Be cool. Be cool. It happens probably 2 or 3 times an hour.
Ever had an imaginary friend are more likely
It's
to
not
use
positive.
this kind of dialogic speech, even if they don't have that friend anymore, which is pretty cute. Others might experience something a little different but similar, what psychologists call imagined interactions. Basically, that's when you imagine all the things you should have said to that guy who stole your parking spot, or rehearse what you're going to say to your date later. What's not
In both instances, I say faggot. Both instances.
clear in all of this is why people have these different inner monologues or dialogues and what those differences say about them. We don't even
It covers a lot of bases when I just walk up, I'm sup, faggot. So there you go. Said that to my wife. And,
even really know where inner speech comes from. From an evolutionary standpoint, many experts think that inner speech came about as part of the process for generating overt speech. It may even be a side effect of sorts of spoken language that's been co-opted for other cognitive tasks.
So there's a lot of theories about how audible speech and language came to be. You can go the religious route and like the Tower of Babel and stuff like that. But there's the idea that words basically evolved from like grunts and moans and things like that into its current. So there's this condition called synesthesia, and it's a crossing of senses in your brain. Like if you imagine a word or a number, let's say a number, right? Then you'll imagine the concept of size or the smell of jasmine or something like that. It's a cross wiring in your brain. And they think this cross wiring that not everybody has, a limited amount of people have this, actually helped develop language. And it's very common in like poets and stuff and like musicians. And that's how language kind of started, from being just grunts and stuff like that into actually being a spoken language where we can communicate with each other. It's not just, hey, look what we're going to call this an axe. Okay, everybody, this is an axe now. We're good with that. Okay. Thank you. All right, what's the next thing? Can. It's not like that. It developed over centuries, at least, into what we have now. Is it perfect? It's not perfect. No.
See, when you go to speak, your brain simultaneously sends signals to 2 different areas. One to motor parts of your brain to control the mouth and the tongue and stuff, and a copy to the sensory parts of the brain. The sensory signal allows the brain to make a prediction about what it's about to hear.
Scott says, Rumble wigging out for anyone else? I don't have as many people as I thought I should, so I kind of think that might be the case.
Essentially, you recite the words in your...
When my numbers go down, it's like, okay, either they don't like me or Rumble's being an asshole. It's usually people don't like me.
head as you say them out loud. And
no, it's usually Rumble being an asshole. And I don't know why Rumble, you have all this money to pay like Dr. Disrespect and like Russell Brand and stuff like that. Fix your servers, brah. Fix your servers. Also, fix your ad thing, because I don't get ads. I'm not allowed to have ads. Why? I have plenty of viewers. I just don't get any of them. It's not fair. It's not fair. Is it the time of day I'm doing it?
out that the same kind of signal occurs during inner speech. That may be why you can, quote, hear yourself. You're literally activating the hearing part of your brain. And some psychologists think this means the underlying purpose of internal...
How do deaf people think? How do deaf people... They don't think in language. Do they think in, like, funny hand shapes? Do they? Do they think in written words? Do they think like this? How was your day today?
Speech is to catch errors
Maybe.
when you talk. If the internal prediction matches what you say, your brain knows it can filter your words out of what it's hearing and focus on the rest of the sounds coming in.
By the way, I would date and marry a deaf chick. I might deafen Jess. I might just like, you know, I'll take a gun when she's like sleeping and then I'll just blast one off right next to her head. Right? And then the next night I'll do the other ear. And, you know, and it won't physically hurt her. I mean, the pain from the noise will be intense. But then after that, it'll just be quiet. It'll just be quiet. And then they have to be born deaf because then they can't learn to talk. That's the issue. That's the issue I'm having. So she'd still be able to talk, but she just wouldn't hear anything. I'm not doing that plan. I didn't think it through.
If they don't match, like if you stumble over a word, your brain lets you know that you made a mistake so that you can stop and correct yourself. But it doesn't seem like this error correction is absolutely essential for speech because the two can be separated from one another. There are cases of people with brain damage who lose their inner speech, but not the ability to talk and vice versa. Still, inner speech could have helped people communicate better, which could explain why it evolved. This is just the prevailing hypothesis, though, and it's possible it's wrong. Also, it's likely that even if inner speech started this way, the brain has repurposed it for other uses. Those other uses might explain why it differs between people. Some psychologists think our everyday inner speech reflects conversations that we had out loud as kids, especially moments when our caregivers talked us through solving a problem or calmed us down. The idea...
Nope. 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 Never heard that shit. Nope. Nope. No fucking way. No, I don't hear my dad trying. No. That is a ridiculous thing. Is that a common? Do you guys deal with that? Do you like talk to yourselves like your parents probably should have talked to you? I don't. I do not identify with that.
Is that these teaching moments get internalized as we grow up, and then we essentially replay them in our heads later, which would explain why inner speech often resembles a conversation. And this could explain why, content-wise, it's often about self-regulation, things like problem solving, planning things out, time management, and motivation. Those are all things someone would help talk their young child through. Plus, the same brain areas are activated during internal dialogic speech, and when a person is thinking about someone else's experience and perspective. That would make sense if the voice in your head is basically your brain recycling someone else's words. So if this theory is correct, inner speech might be different between people simply because their upbringings and social interactions were different. We still don't know how or if those differences matter, mind you.
I don't know. I think that's a complete... I mean, maybe when you speak to yourself, but that can't be the case for everybody, right? That just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, what do I think about when I think about not shit like that?
But there are some big clues that inner speech plays an important role in cognition. So all those brain processes involved in thinking. For instance, scientists have used a test called a dual task paradigm to see how inner speech affects problem solving. Basically, they ask a person to solve a problem while doing something else. And if that second task is physical, like tapping their foot, they generally have no problem with it. But if it's verbal, like remembering a list of words, then they perform worse. Researchers think that's because those words disrupt their inner speech, making it so they can't really talk themselves through the problem. Inner speech may also be an important tool.
So it's like somebody's trying to count, and then you spit out random numbers as they're trying to count. Like somebody's trying to count money, and then you're like 5, 11, 15, 11, 182, 5. And then they're like, shut the fuck up, dude. That's how I have fun.
Tool for memory, and more specifically, working memory. That's the memory where you store the information you want to access really quickly. One of the components in working memory is the ability to repeat information to yourself until you no longer need it, and for that, you need inner speech.
I think I have a problem with my working memory. I think that's a symptom of ADD is we don't have very good working memory. And so that when I try to accomplish a task and my head gets flooded with ideas and little conversations and like what ifs and stuff like that. And then I end up in a room and then I'm like, why am I in this room? I know that happens to a lot of people. It's actually a very common thing, but for people with ADD, it's disruptively common. It's just like not being able to shut up in your own head, you know? And so you find yourself in situations or you blurt out things in conversations because you're not like following along properly. It's just too much going on. There's a processing issue that's happening.
In fact, people who do more self-managing inner speech, so things like talking themselves through solving a problem, do seem to do better on some cognitive tasks. So differences in how people talk to themselves might underlie differences in how well they perform different kinds of thinking. Inner speech may also play a part in mental health conditions. Research has connected it to depression and anxiety, for example. People who have more depressive tendencies tend to experience more depressive self-talk. And we know that people who are more anxious tend to engage in more self-critical inner speech. And it's not clear.
How do you stop that? Do you just imagine it away and just be like, I need to shut up inside my head? There's no way of doing that. There's no way of doing that. You can put the gun in your mouth and then point it in the right direction. Remember? Don't mess that up. There's nothing I hate more than somebody who fails at suicide. Because not only are you such a loser that you had to end yourself because you couldn't find a way out of it, but then you fucked that up. Dude, come on. Like, come on. You have to live the rest of your life with half a face because you don't even know where to point the gun. There's a light bulb at the back of your head. Hit the light bulb. I don't think about this.
Clear if these negative forms of inner speech exacerbate or even cause those conditions, or if the conditions lead.
Brandon Seb says, men in my trade, it's common to talk to themselves out loud to be productive. It works. I do that all the time. I talk to myself. I think out loud pretty often. And yeah. I don't know what you do, Brandon, but yeah, that makes sense.
To higher amounts of negative inner speech. Those studies have found that if you ask people to think verbally about hypothetical situations, even positive ones, their mood is lower than if you ask them to picture the hypothetical situations instead. And that does support the idea that the speech part of inner speech might make people less happy for some reason. Other research has tied inner speech to symptoms common in psychotic disorders. For example, people with schizophrenia often report hearing voices of people speaking to them or telling them what to do. One theory is that those voices are actually inner speech. Remember that prediction?
That's just running amok. It could be demons, though. Let's just say it could be demons. Because what's the difference? I mean, seriously, you could have a mental disorder or you could be possessed by a demon. Or both could be true. Or neither. You could just be an asshole.
Signal I mentioned earlier? Well, some experts think that if something in that neural circuit is off, then the brain's usual way of identifying self-made sounds and thoughts could be off too. So basically, that person's brain might not be so great at separating sounds they generate from ones they hear. And that may mean that it also attributes inner speech to someone else. Because of these potentially important roles in cognition and mental health, psychologists are eager to gain a better understanding of what inner speech is and why it happens. And figuring all that out could tell us a lot about Well, a lot. From how our brains develop and work to what's actually happening in a variety of mental disorders. But as of right now, we just don't know that much about this thing. Most of us do every day. There are a lot of big questions currently unanswered.
She's too fat.
Like where inner speech comes from.
Don't be so fat. Don't be so fat. And you're Asian, so you should be like much thinner. You don't wear fat well.
Why it differs between people and what those differences mean. Like, can you change your inner monologue? Can you train yourself to think in conversations or to hear other voices or your own more often? We don't even know if you should want to make those changes, if there are benefits or downsides of different kinds of inner speech. And it's probably going to be a while before we have any clear answers because our methods for studying it just aren't great. And there's a lot of debate over basic questions like how many people even do it in the first place. In the meantime, though, you can still talk about it amongst yourself. Thanks to Eric for asking us about...
Thank you. Thank you. I don't even know how much that actually answered. But whatever. There we go.
You don't think about me. What are you thinking about?
Hence, the white bear paradox was born. Whenever you try to suppress a feeling or idea, it will appear in your mind more intensely and more frequently. Keep that in mind. Your brain can't manually suppress feelings or ideas. So imagine what happens if you take the book's advice to heart and follow the law of attraction. Let's say you suppress ideas of failing, going broke, and being lonely. If so, these ideas will inevitably come back. And like someone who is panicking and tells themselves to stop panicking, the floodgates break loose. So while this advice sounds appealing and is easy to implement, it can worsen the very issue that caused you to buy the book in the first place. The Secret also has some very conflicting messaging.
Right? I mean, if you buy a book that's about like the law of attraction or like, you know, The Secret and stuff like that, because you're lonely, right? Or broke or something like that. And then you're all like, I'm not going to think about being lonely or broke. Okay. So you're not, first of all, that's impossible. But then you're not thinking about being lonely or broke. So you don't care that you're lonely or broke, which is you're still broke. You know, you're still broke. You're just not thinking about it. But you can't even do that. You can't even do that. You can't not think about being broke by pushing yourself. I'm not broke. I'm not broke. Let me check. Yep. Still fucking broke. Still fucking broke. What are you going to do? That's not. You got to do something. Thinking about something is the first step, okay? And a lot of people get overwhelmed by that first step, and then they think too much. It's better if you don't think so much. And this, you know, this is true, especially for like social interactions. If somebody has anxiety over social gatherings or they think about scenarios in their head about how terrible it's going to be, and they think about that and they think about that, and eventually they go to a party because their friend forces them to or something like that, and they're petrified of having a conversation with anybody because they've been thinking all day of all the things that can go wrong, so they can't even think about a normal conversation to talk about. So it becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy where you don't want to be socially awkward. So you think how not to be socially awkward, and then you're socially awkward because that's all you've been thinking about. You have nothing else on the top of your head. So,
Everything that's around you right now in your life, including the things you're complaining about, you've attracted.
Everything. And if something bad happened in your life, then it is your fault. You manifested it into your life.
So you can choose to be gay. I thought so.
Got robbed on the street? Your fault. Loved one died in a car accident? Your fault. Lost
Yeah, that's brutal. Right? Well, you did something wrong here. And then you're like, I wasn't even, no, it's your fault. It's your fault. Everything's your fault. I don't see this book but this book sold, what, like 35 million copies. It was a very popular book. And every boomer Karen in the world has a copy of this. And some of them are still rocking and rolling on it. I remember when it was big, though, because and the people at vision boards and stuff. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia actually did an episode on it, and it's pretty funny.
As a result of warfare, you were thinking too negative.
Yeah, Knob says, so John chose to have tiny nipples. I don't remember making that choice. I don't remember the character creator where I was like, you know what? Can we really shrink down these nipples? Like, really make them imperceptible? No, I didn't do that. I didn't think about my nipples night after night and be like, I just wish I had smaller nipples. I just wish I had smaller nipples. Not once did I think about that. Not once did I think about the size of my... I remember being a kid going through puberty and stuff like that. And I was like, why are my nipples hard? They were hard. And they don't tell you this, but for men at least, there's a calcium buildup that happens in your nipples when you start going through puberty. And I didn't know that. So I was like, what the fuck is happening to my nipples? They were hard. They're nice and supple now, in case you guys are wondering, which I know you are.
Negatively. The law states clearly
That's my fault.
that any issue in your life can be...
But how does something happen to you and then you have no idea? Okay, you have syphilis, but you're like a 15th century pirate. How do you have syphilis if you have no concept of what that is? Oh, because you banged a bunch of Native Americans. You went raping and pillaging, and now you have syphilis. So, even though you didn't think about it, even though you didn't go to sleep that night and be like, I have syphilis on my vision board, and that never heard of it before in your life. And then you're all like, why is my brain dissolving? You didn't know that.
removed or prevented by just thinking positively.
Positive imagery. Fly to Africa and tell one of them starving children that what's wrong with you? I have not eaten in 5 days. What you need to do is visualize some roast beef and some mashed potatoes and gravy. Oh, please, you're killing me. Stop talking like that. No. The problem is you have a bad attitude about starving to death.
He was one of the greats. Dave Chappelle was one of the greats, but he went crazy and then went to Africa. And then when he came back like a decade later, and he started talking about trans people, the entire industry was all like, no, we're not, no. Shit changed, Dave. Shit changed. And now everything's politically motivated. And he was all like, man, fuck this shit. And I totally get it. I get it, Dave. I get you.
Many people don't discuss when talking about this book is that its advice has indirectly killed people, as stated in the documentary and in the book numerous times.
It always works.
Is Rumble just killing me right now? Killing me softly, like Dave Chappelle? Is it just because did I imagine that? Is it my fault that Rumble won't even like stream properly? It looks like it's pretty far behind. So I'm not getting like up-to-date comments or anything like that.
It works every time with every person.
Nope.
However,
nothing in the history of anything has ever worked every time with every person. I can't even think of something. Because even like if you shot somebody in the face and been like, that kills them every time for every person. People have stood up after that and been like, why'd you shoot me in the face? Why didn't it work that time? People have been hung from trees and stuff like that for like a good long time. And then they're all like, well, that was boring. See, not everything works for every person. Like the COVID vaccine. A lot of people are surviving it.
It did not work in the case of Kim Tinkham and Kathy Goodman. Kim Tinkham was watching the Oprah Winfrey Show one day. It came across one of the 2 episodes dedicated to The Secret. Oprah was one of the biggest supporters of the book upon its release.
Because basically the message of The Secret...
Oprah sacrificed her kid to be rich and famous. Like in some satanic ritual, she did. She had a daughter. Not anymore.
Secret is the message that I've been trying to share with the world on my show for the past 21 years.
Shortly afterwards, Oprah received a letter from Tinkham that stated she was a breast cancer patient, and after learning of the law of attraction, she was going to drop chemotherapy and instead heal herself with The Secret.
Oprah's retarded, right? She's a stupid person. She's famous because of all the rituals and the sacrifices that she made. But she's not, that doesn't make her smart or like savvy, or she gives away cars and stuff like that. She's not a smart person. Just because somebody's a billionaire doesn't automatically make them the smartest person in the world. There's a lot of smart people that just aren't rich. Most smart people aren't rich. There's this entire concept in like the boomer generation where that money was the only thing anybody could possibly desire. And the only thing that made some people rich and some people poorer was intelligence. So if you had a lot of money, it meant de facto you were a smart person or like a genius or something like that. But that's not the case. There's a lot of very smart millennials. There's a lot of very smart Gen Z people that will probably never, ever, ever be rich, even if they want to. It's just there's systematic reasons. There's also people that don't give a shit, right? Because when you want to be rich, you have to think about money constantly. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They just don't. That's just not their interest. Some people want to think of like the meaning of life or what's the nature of reality or something like that. That doesn't mean you're stupid, right? That just means you have other interests, which is good, which is a good thing. Because if you're constantly thinking about money every single day for decades and decades, you're an asshole. That's just it. You're just an asshole. And you might make a lot of money, but you still might not. There's a lot of people who think about money all the time, and they're still broke. Those people are stupid. Those are stupid people. So, yeah. The ones that think about money and then actually have a lot of money, they're not as stupid. But that doesn't mean they're smart. There's lots of people with a lot of money that are not very clever. I mean, that's just it. And I know the saying of a fool and his money are soon parted. That's not always true. That's just not always true. You know, some people just have so much money.
Alarmed, Oprah immediately bought her a plane ticket to get on the show and tried to persuade her to continue traditional treatment. But unfortunately, she would not change. By 2008, she was cancer-free. However, the tumor returned, and she died on December 7th, 2010.
Well, she stopped thinking about it. She stopped. It was not on her vision board anymore because she didn't have, and then the cancer came back. So that's what you got to do. If you don't want cancer, you have to believe right now that you don't want cancer. You got to believe real hard, or else the cancer is going to get you.
Feel free to examine this rabbit hole further.
On November 23rd, I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
You're dead now, bitch. Goodman is in your identical scenario. She appears in the book and the documentary and claims that she used the law of attraction to cure breast cancer.
From the time I was diagnosed, which was November 23rd, to the time I was healed.
I like that you had the breast cancer thing in her background. We see your nipple. We see them. You see, I have nicer nipples than you because I believed it.
Totally was approximately 3 months. And that's without radiation and chemotherapy.
And
if I get diagnosed with cancer, I'm going to be goodbye. And I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to do nothing. And I'm just going to coast. I'm going to coast to the end, right? I'm not going to let you aim your ray gun at me. Or like try to give me a bunch of chemotherapies. Or it's just poison. That's what it is. It's poison. No, I'm good. I'll be okay. You know, a lot of people have cancer and it just lives inside of them until they're old. and it doesn't like metastasize and spread and eat them alive. A lot of people have cancer. It's not automatically a death sentence. It's not.
Fortunately, it's reported to have died after The Secret's release. And yet, this book still has a gigantic following, with many of the people featured in the book still maintaining a grip in the self-help world and preaching the law of attraction.
Should I be a self-help guru? Do you guys think I would be a good self-help guru? I could be like Tony Robbins and just be like, you guys need to believe you're awesome. You guys have the power, right? You guys have the power. You can do it. I am your self-help guru. Pay me and I will for my lectures. And then there you go. I can do that. I can really do that. I can trick people into thinking they're better than they are because that's what people want. People want to be tricked and manipulated into having self-confidence. But I from like a moral standpoint, I can't do that. If I see somebody who's an idiot, I'm not going to be like, you're a genius, you genius. I mean, I might say it like that, but that's just super sarcastic. Right? And so it would come off sarcastic. Like, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll be the super sarcastic self-help guru. Like, oh, yeah, you definitely got this, fag. I mean, you're not a fag. You were definitely straight. Definitely. Definitely. And super smart. Like, whoa, you're really going to knock it out of the park. Yeah, the reason you're lonely is not because you're dog shit ugly. It's because, you didn't believe in yourself enough. You thought you were ugly. That was the problem. Now get out there, beautiful. I'll laugh and everything too. And they'll be like, that guy had some points. That guy had some good points. I think I can do it now, right? I spent $12,000 listening to his seminar where he just basically made snarky comments at me. And now I'm going to go and then try out my life. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to go back next year and pay another $12,000 for the same seminar. People do that. People do that. Why? You go back to the same self-help guru after trying his shit out and it doesn't work? Like, you must be retarded. You must be absolutely retarded. I wouldn't say that to them. I'd be like, you're a genius. Yeah, you big... Bravo for the genius, everybody. Look at this genius. He's come to this seminar 6 times. I made a mint off of him. He's brilliant. And then he walks out. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty smart. And then I just have thousands of people that do that.
So,
honestly, it sounds like fun. It sounds like fun. Just being really sarcastic. But I think if I did that for like a living, I think it would cause like a tumor to develop in my brain. But it'd be fine because I'd just be like, tumor, go away. And then it would be gone. Nope. And then I'd go back to being sarcastic to everybody and be like, wow, you're really doing a great job with your life. Look at you. You're 400 pounds and you ride around in a chair because you don't want to lose that 400 pounds, right? You're gaining. That's wow. I bet you got to park up front. Everybody. That's because this person knew they could do it. And so they got a good parking spot. This guy's a genius. No, I would hate myself. I would go into the room. I would go into my dressing room after the seminar. And I would look myself in the mirror. And I'd be like, how are people this stupid? How are people this stupid? And I would like dissolve. And I would hit the bottle real hard. And I'd be like, I just can't. I just can't anymore. I mean, no one gets it. No one gets that I'm just making fun of them. But I'm making millions of dollars. I don't know what to do. And that's the scenario. That's my scenelet.
This be accepted in the self-help world. Though The Secret contains information from new thought books and ancient traditions, it is missing something very important, and that is scientific integrity. I was inspired to make this video after reading the first few chapters of Richard Wiseman's 59 Seconds. Shout out to him, an awesome book.
You just see this advice, which is terrible, which you as a psychologist you shouldn't be telling anyone. And I thought it'd be nice to set the record straight.
Have you ever been told to punch a pillow if you get mad?
Don't do that. So, if you have anger issues, I understand why you're here. If you have anger issues, then you should not exert those anger. Like, don't punch a pillow, because that's going to, all it's going to do is teach you that hitting things when you're angry is okay. And then those people like get in a fight with their wife and they're all like, I know what to do. Pop. All right. That's what happens. That's it. Don't do that. Learn to chill yourself out. I know it's not that easy. I understand, like, when the heat of the moment and like you're pissed or you're tired or you're hungry or something's going wrong and then you've had enough. And then but you have to just be like, you know what? If I just like chill out for just like a minute and then like come back to it, I'll be okay. It's about the split-second decisions that you need to avoid, right? Don't make decisions when you're in hyper emotional states. I understand that this is way easier said than done, but you making a decision when you're overly emotional is always a bad decision. It's always a bad decision. There's a reason why funeral homes and weddings cost 3 to 5 times more just because they are weddings and funerals, right? People don't think rationally when they're under like grief or, well, weddings are a different kind of thing, but like caskets and stuff are way overpriced because they know people will pay it because they're emotionally stressed. They're not thinking clearly. They're not going to try to look for a deal. They're in the middle of mourning, right? Which is, it takes all of you, right? It takes all of your mental energy to mourn properly. It's exhausting. And, you know, you can't really turn it off. And so a lot of times these funeral homes will just straight up take advantage of people. And it's not cool. It's not cool at all. And the same with weddings, right? I think, you know, if you're going to get like flowers for a certain price and then they hear you're having a wedding, they'll like double it. When me and Jess got married, we rented like a nice Airbnb and, you know, it was a certain price. It wasn't all that cheap. It was a certain price. And then after we rented it, we said, after it was, you know, we said we were going to have a wedding there. And then they hit us back and then they're all like, oh, we're doubling the price because you're having a wedding there. And we're like, you can't do that because we already like paid and everything. You know, you can't do that. And then they're like, well, we're going to do it. So we canceled. And we're like, fine, fuck you. You can't just do that, okay? You just can't do that. It doesn't matter what we're doing there. We rented it for the, you know, whatever reason we happen to have. And after the fact, you're like, oh, there's more money to be had? No, go fuck yourself, rich hippies. That's what it was called. They were called themselves the rich hippies. I'm sure they were some boomers that had tons of money. And, you know, boomers, they suck. I mean, they just suck.
While doing so will increase your anger levels. Have you been told that brainstorming...
Background says, I hit kids for the love of the game, not for emotional relief. And that's fine. That's fine. As long as you're not doing it in the heat of the moment, if you're just practicing, that's okay.
It's the best way to come up with ideas. Turns out that thinking on your own is better. You know the Yale Goal Study? The study that showed that people who wrote down their goals did exponentially better than their counterparts? Turns out it never happened. Even though it is still cited by motivational speakers to this day. Have you ever been told that we are...
Okay, and so motivational speakers want to know what your dream is, and you writing it down and then them like looking at it helps them manipulate you. Motivational speakers are basically cult leaders. That's what they are, right? They're just slightly different and, you know, they're the same thing. It's just telling people what they want to hear. It's relieving people of worries or angst or doubt in their mind, right? Which we all have because we're all human, right? And if there's somebody who's good at relieving that for you and saying you're going to, leave on this spaceship and we're going to live forever in the stars, or you're going to be able to do it because you're a genius. You're a genius. That relieves a lot of tension. That relieves a lot of anxiety in a lot of people. And people will pay good money for that. They will pay good money for that. So maybe I should. Maybe I should just do that. Maybe I'm gonna get out of the cult game. Nah, I love the cult game. Right? Let them have their motivational speaker game. We're drinking the Kool-Aid, boys.
We are using
5% of the potential of the human mind.
This is a ridiculous claim, and you use all sections of your brain in your daily life.
Yeah, that's not true. You only use 10% of your brain, and if you were able to unlock the full 100%, we'd be superhumans. No, that's not how brains work. It's not how you use certain parts of your brain during your day, but if you were to use all of your brain, it would just be confusing, and you would get nothing done. You use certain parts of your brain, or maybe not even that, right? Maybe you just need 10%, and that's what it works at most efficiently. It's not like you're an X-Men. If you use 100% of your brain, you can bend spoons and stuff with your mind. No, man, that's not true. You know how I know it's not true? Because people aren't doing that. I've never seen somebody bend a spoon with their brain. Never.
I know you have been told that you can get rich, get laid, get power, and a zillion other promises if you read this book, watch this video, subscribe to this series, go to this event.
You can get laid. It just depends on how if you want to break the law, or if it's what rules do you want to bend? Do you have access to roofies? These things. If you're ugly, you got to work with what you got. All right, you got to play the cards that you're dealt. If you're dog shit, bone fuck ugly, you're gonna have to roofie some people if you want to get laid,
and etc.
That's just it.
The reason why is that the self-help industry.
Don't blame me. Don't say I'm a bad guy. I'm just calling it as I see it.
I'm not saying every motivational speaker is betting on you failing. In fact, I believe The Secret was written with good intentions. However, we humans
What are good intentions? To make a lot of money? It was written by an idiot who thought that this worked, and then she's like, oh, I made tons of money because I envisioned it and stuff. No, you scammed millions of housewives. There's a difference. That's real. You can really scam millions of housewives. That's not that hard. But you didn't envision it.
Onto this sort of stuff because we want simple solutions to our complex problems.
There you go. Humans are naturally lazy creatures. And this is actually a good thing. It's good that humans are lazy because this is how we were able to invent solutions and machines to do our work and our thinking for us, right? It's good that humans want to be lazy. We want to do the least amount of work for the most gain. And so what do? We made combine harvesters and cotton gins and computers and stuff like that, all because we wanted to be able to achieve things faster without putting in tons of work. So it's a good thing that humans are lazy. But then it can be hijacked for stupid shit like this. Yeah. So you have to watch out for that. A lot of times, you just have to put in the work. You just have to do it. There's no simple solution. There's no magic pill. There's no cure. There's no get rich quick scheme. You just gotta work at it. Okay? And if you don't have to work at it and still achieve the results, by all means, do that. Right? But that's going to be pretty tough to think about because it's probably already been thought about. And it's either illegal or everyone's doing it.
It is more appealing and easier to punch a pillow rather than analyze how to control your anger. The industry is always promoting this idea that you can be better. You can always be slimmer, more charming, more good looking. But there is a point where we have to draw the line. And while wanting to improve yourself is a very good thing, many people end up feeling ashamed if they read that book and nothing changes. Especially if somebody ends up implementing the ineffective advice we just discussed. It creates a cycle of shame that makes you think, I'm not good enough, and that I cannot change. And that is so far from the truth. There are some things you can never control. Beyond all the shame we hold in our lives, beyond all failed attempts, we just have to sit down and say, I love myself. It is a tragedy.
Self-acceptance is fine. It's fine. Sometimes you just gotta be grateful for what you have. And I know that's not so easy, but it's actually pretty easy. You just have to be like, well, I'm glad I'm not in a much worse position. You can easily think of a million worse positions. And then you're like, well, yeah, okay, I'm glad that's not happening to me right now. But it's okay not to be a millionaire. It's really okay. What you want. Here's the thing about wanting stuff. If you do not achieve that, you will make yourself miserable. You will make yourself miserable. If you want your Bugatti and you only want that Bugatti and you cannot have that Bugatti, then you're going to be sad that you don't have a Bugatti. But you didn't need a Bugatti. You simply wanted a Bugatti because some dickhead on the internet said, what color is your Bugatti? You didn't need that, right? You wanted that and you made yourself sad. You made yourself unhappy because you didn't have this thing that somebody else told you that you wanted. So that's your fault. That's your fault. If you're sad because you don't have something that you didn't want before and you don't really need it, that's your fault, bro. You listen to some jackass on the internet that said you needed a Bugatti or you needed a Rolex watch. No, you don't. You absolutely do not. But now you're sad because you don't have that and you have no way of attaining that. You're stupid. You're a stupid person. Why? Why would you do that to yourself? I mean, a normal watch tells time too. A car gets you places. Cars are kind of different because, like, dude, all cars are expensive now. And it's stupid. What happened to, like, $1,000 cars? You guys remember that? You get a used car for, like, $1,000 and it would run and it would get you places. You'd be like, I can get another 100,000 miles out of this. Not anymore.
Because there's so many people out there who believe that they can be better people, but end up going down the rabbit hole of self-help and are left even more confused and even more insecure about themselves. So what can we do about it? If you take away one thing from this video...
JD says, be the change you want to be. Why you gotta want stuff all the time? I mean, why can't you just be? You know? I understand that people have aspirations and stuff and like goals, and that's good to have. It's good to have goals. It's good to have aspirations. Fuck, I'm doing this right now because someday I want to be able to make more money than just a few bucks here and there. But I'm not like tripping about it because I don't have that right now. You know? I'm not unhappy because I can't do that right now. I want it, but I'm not going to die if I don't get it. I'm not going to be miserable if I don't get that. You know? Wanting something is tough because especially if you don't like need it. I can understand if you have like cancer and you really want to not have cancer, but you kind of need that. So yeah, you dying of cancer is an issue. But yeah, It's okay to be okay. It's okay to be whatever you have. A little pudgy, kind of stupid, not the best looking guy in the world. It's okay. But if you want more for yourself, don't torture yourself for that just because you don't have it. You can do something, or you don't have to do something. You can just be okay. It's okay to be okay. You gotta live your life and not constantly want something more and extra. You gotta live in the moment a little bit. Touch some grass.
Know that most of the solutions listed in the video aim to treat the symptoms rather than the cause. You may feel good manifesting your dream car, but it won't bring you that car in real life.
No, look, and you have a shitty apartment, and there's like a lot of other things that you don't need. You don't need that car. What you need is other things to like fill out your life. You know how I know? Because you have time to sit on your couch and imagine yourself driving a car, which is wild. That's wild, dude. Get a PlayStation, for God's sakes. You can get like Gran Turismo or something. You can get a nice racing game. You don't have to imagine it. But why do you have the time to sit in your chair and imagine yourself driving a Ferrari? Why do you have that time? I don't. I don't have time like that. And if I did, and I was doing that, my wife would come out and be like, he keeps honking breasts and stuff. Right? She'd be like, what are you doing? I'd be like, I'm driving a Ferrari. Get out of my Bugatti. Get out of my Bugatti. Like, I'm pretending the couch is my car.
Instead of distracting ourselves with...
So stupid. That's so fucking stupid. That's so stupid. That's so fucking stupid.
Fantasy. Take direct action to organize and clean up your life.
Scott says, I don't know, Rolex Oyster Perpetual 34, pretty sweet. Should I get I kind of want to watch. I know, there's nothing on here. I don't like Rolexes. I think I'm going to get a watch, but I'm not going to spend $20,000 on a watch. I think I'm going to get a normal watch and not like one of those Apple tracker watches where like, oh, they're sending your heart rate and your blood pressure to the insurance company and you've been denied because they do that. They do that. Don't get those watches. Don't get those watches. I'll just get a normal watch that like tells time and stuff. I don't need a status symbol. I want something that's looks good. And if I have to pay some money for that, I'm not like opposed to that. But I don't need a Rolex. Do you guys remember that meme going around? It was like, if you're in your 20s, go buy a Rolex. Go into debt if you have to. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Why on earth would you do that? Why? You know how much some of those Rolexes, some of those watches cost like $250,000. Why? Why would you do that? Because women like it? Because they look at your hands and they see, and then every chick is like a professor of watches. They don't know. They don't know. They have no clue. They don't, right? If it looks nice, then yeah, that's it. But they're not going to be like, oh, that's a Oyster Purple Perpetual. It's a very expensive watch. They don't know that. They don't know that. All right. Any watch will do. A Casio will do. But I haven't had a watch in a while. So
once you find trustworthy advice to eliminate the issue, stick to it. Because
Scott says, nah, they ain't $20,000. You can pick one up for $6,000 or $7,000. I still don't want that. For $6,000 or $7,000, $6,000 or $7,000, I could build a lot of stuff. That I would want. $6,000 or $7,000, I'm not buying a fucking watch. Probably just because I'm not in the position to piss away $6,000 or $7,000 on a watch. I got a wife and 2 kids, and like a watch is at the bottom of the list of priorities right now.
System and be happy with any amount of progress. Always remember the white bear paradox. Whenever metaphorical bears appear in your
Saw Dumpster says Casio calculator watches a flex. Ask for days. That's a fact.
life,
That's
don't
a
try
fact,
to forget
dude.
about it.
That's an absolute fact. I've seen cats, like humans, not like metaphorical cats, with like Casios, and they pull bitches, right? Like a $7 Casio they got from a pawn shop, and they're all like, "Yeah, this thing fucking." I don't get it, man. It's like it's cheap as shit, but you know, it pulls. I'm all like, It doesn't make sense because women don't make sense.
Distract yourself from it or try to manifest your way to a bearless life.
Brandon Sav says just buy John a Rolex for Christmas. No. Jess doesn't have a job, dude. If she buys me a Rolex, that's on my credit card, dude. No, absolutely not.
Though it will be hard.
No
consistency.
You guys buy me a Rolex.
Directly eliminate
you do that.
Cause more bears to disappear.
Okay, then I will rock
Stay
that
strong.
shit all day long.
Life is tough. And
I'll be like, you guys bought me this, huh? Yeah. If you don't have one, you should go into debt, right? What an asshole thing to say, because he probably has a Rolex, right? He probably has a Rolex. And he's like, yeah, if you don't have one of these babies, you should, because, you know, even go into debt, even ruin your financial life at the tender young age of 20, just so you have a fucking watch. What an asshole. What a complete asshole. You guys buy me a Rolex. If you guys say, if you guys comment, this is for the Rolex fund, I will put it in a specific fund that says Rolex fund. It'll never get filled up. And then if it reaches the number, I will use that fund for a Rolex. I don't like Rolexes, though. I don't want a Rolex. Even if I had the cash on hand for a Rolex, I'd be like, I'm not going to buy a Rolex with this. There's so many other things. I want to buy a pool for my kids. That's what I want to do. I don't need a Rolex.
And direct action, we can all improve. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Now that we are finished this video, you can forget.
Background says, I'll get you a clock on a chain like Flava Flav. Just make it huge. Just make it huge. We finished that video, so now we're going to watch the actual secret. Make sure that clock is heavy and diamond encrusted. And make sure I look like I've had AIDS for 20 years, because that's what Flavor Flav looks like. Yeah, hashtag Rolex for John. Fuck, give me 3. Or I'll keep them with both wrists, like those absolutely insufferable tools. Why do you have 2 watches? You have multiple watches, dude. You don't even have anywhere to be. Why do you have so many? Oh, God. You made me angry, Salt Dumpster. All right, hold on. I gotta do the bell. For a $2 donation, this bell is a little bit more worth $2, but I'll give it to you. Salt Dumpster for $2 says, hashtag Rolly for John. And so I said I have to do it, so I'm going to have to like write that down somewhere. I don't know. I'll write it down. It's going to have $2 in it. And I don't even want a Rolex. I don't want one. I think they're ugly.
Dark night in 1976. It was December 19th. A day that will change my life.
Scott says, fine. If you don't want a Rolex, get a 1943 World War II Elgin A11. I don't know what that is, but I think I probably like it a lot better.
Forever. It was the day I died.
Get a Swatch? I can get a Swatch.
When I came back, I did not come back the same. How do you feel? I did not come back alone.
Swatch watch for the win. Yeah.
What seemed like days passed in 19 minutes. And over the course of the next few years, I began to remember.
This is a documentary, by the way.
Mysteries revealed to me.
This is a documentary, And they're saying that all of the rulers knew the secret. All the kings of history knew the secret. And all they had to do was really want it. That's all they had. All they had to do was just really want it. I wonder how these women, because most of them are women that bought this book. Most of them are women. I wonder how these women squared the circle of, like, they bought the secret, they believed in it truly and faithfully, and now they're still in the shit situation they were in. Were they just like, I guess I didn't want it bad enough, or something like that? Because they are out there. Of course they are. There's not a bunch of middle-aged or old boomer women. Well, there's a lot of rich boomer women. But, you know, it didn't work. Okay, it didn't work. So how are they allowed, like, I wonder how they trick themselves, but they don't like saying they tricked themselves or somebody tricked them. People don't like being tricked. So they will deny that they got tricked until the bitter end, right? People will believe a lie, but they will not believe that they ever got lied to. They will not. A Garmin? A Garmin's like a...
I discovered
like a map
secret beyond any secret.
Which would be fine if I got lost in the woods. If I was like trekking out in the woods a lot and had one of those like Garmin things, you know, with like the beacon, you pull out the antenna and you hit the beacon. That would be useful. I could see that being useful. I'm not trekking through the woods a lot though.
The sum of all secrets.
My eyes have seen this.
There is a new mark around every corner. That's true.
It's out there. I will find it.
You will find.
Scott says smartwatches are gay, and I agree. I think they're gay. I think they're dumb. I don't need all that information on my watch. I don't need my watch buzzing every 2 seconds. My phone already does it. My phone goes bzz, bzz in my, and even when it doesn't buzz, I was like, oh, did my pocket buzz? No, it's just a phantom buzz because my brain has gotten so used to it buzzing for notifications that I imagine it happens. It's like when you have a kid, you'll go through this thing called phantom cries, where you think the baby's crying, and then you go check on the baby, but it wasn't crying. That baby wasn't crying. It's the same thing for your fucking phone, right? You think it buzzed. It didn't buzz. You just thought it buzzed in your head because it's got you. It's got you. I don't need that on my wrist. No, I don't. I even have one, right? I think my parents bought me one, but I never used it. I don't like the way they look either.
Nothing. It's like Solomon's gold.
Pamunky says, I wanted a Dick Tracy watch as a kid. I have a phone. That's good enough. That would be sick, though, right? Like, especially if it was, like, authentic, like, movie quality. Yeah, that'd be sick.
It was the key.
They're good. There are good-looking watches out there that I would be interested in owning, but not like the $360,000 Breitling, the coochie grabber. No, I don't. Go fuck with that. I'm not gonna wear that. There are some very like intricate and like exquisite watches, and I've seen them, and I'm like, that would be cool to own, but I'm never gonna wear it. I would never wear it because it only takes one door handle to just fucking brick the thing. And I'm not going to spend that kind of cash on something I'll never be able to wear. You know? Even if I had that, I don't have that kind of cash. I can't just be like, oh, I want, $500,000 watch. I'm not an oil chic, I don't have that. Okay? And me imagining it isn't going to manifest dollar bills in front of me or some stupid funny watch.
To Solomon's wisdom. The secrets of the Knights Templar, not the Freemasons.
He must be stopped.
Courage, my dear boy. Be strong, be brave.
Hog says, I'm a mechanic and can't wear rings or watches. Yeah, because they're dangerous, dude. You're going to rip your hand off or something. Like I have a wedding ring. I don't know where it is. But I wore those rubber ones for a long time. And the last one I lost it in the ocean when I was surfing. But I just, I don't wear rings. I'm not a ring guy, you know, not a jewelry person. I don't wake up in the morning. I'm like, perfect. Yes. Put on there one. Yeah. And then, nope. Too much. That's way too much. No, thank you. I'm not some fucking Guido, okay? I mean, I am Italian, but there is a difference.
I challenged myself to find out everything I could. I found great teachers who knew this and began to seek them out.
Hog says, one time I had a pinky ring. Short a battery out, and oh my god, and about to take my finger off, never again. It's like the pinky ring shorted a battery, so you like touched like a contact on the battery with your pinky ring. Yeah, that would be an issue. That would suck. Yeah, like a ring. Like, I use my fingers. I play guitar and stuff like that. I need my fingers. A ring can get caught on things and it'll rip your finger right off your hand. It's happened, dude. It's happened. Not to me, but I've heard it happening to people. And so if I were to get a watch, it would probably be something that would break off easily, you know? And I'm not looking for a reason for people to rob me. I don't walk around in the ghetto or anything like that. But I just don't need somebody to be like, you know, I want that. And then I get stabbed for it. Even though I do carry a gun. So,
traveled the world.
But it's not the fanciest gun in the world. It just bangs, you know.
And the meta secret.
I don't need something that's so... I need something that kills people. That's it.
Time has come.
I had to look. It's right there. I was like, where is my gun? It's right there.
Became a messenger.
I have to feed it after this.
To deliver all that was made known to me.
Yeah, I do. Oh my god. It's in my bag because I was
Hello there.
a lot of times I ride my bike and you know, it's hard to keep on me when, you know, it's just a Sky CPX2. One in the chamber. Nice. But it's not like a Glock or anything like that. It's a cheap gun. I want to get another one though. But it bangs. It does the thing. 9mm. Does the trick.
I'm Bob Proctor.
Yeah, it's a Sky.
It's a nice word.
Made in Daytona.
It's a word most people don't understand. We talk about metaphysical.
Bought it at a gun show.
That stuff. No. It's
First
just
one's
what
got
you
hollow
can't see
tips.
with these eyes. You got to see with an inner eye of understanding. Meta is beyond the physical. Do you know that 99%
I may get a lathe and make a few projectiles. Ghost. Oh, you're gonna make
world control the inside.
what, like ghost bullets?
If you want to get what you want,
Goatsies. I don't know. This was pretty easy to get. It wasn't hard.
you let the inside world control the outside. That's what the meta secret's all about.
The meta secret to wealth and abundance is doing what you love, following your passion, enjoying your life.
Big B Trucker says the Psycho Sports 5 under $150. It's automatic and pretty nice and simple. Okay. That sounds like it would be promising. If I were to get a watch, I would need it. It would need to be tough enough to handle everything, like getting banged up and going in the ocean and stuff like. Yeah, so I couldn't get a fancy
Realizing that in fact you already have wealth and abundance. You have wealth and abundance to the level that you allow it.
Yeah, Kabuki, this is the secret. You just got here. Yeah, we were talking about like the law of attraction and how it's nonsense and stuff like that.
Expand your level of openness, deservingness, and you can have more wealth and abundance.
Check out the Walthers. Yeah, I think I might just go for a Glock. If I get a new gun, it's probably just going to be like a Glock 19 or something like that. Everyone's got a Glock 19. I don't have a Glock. I'm probably just going to get a Glock 19, right? There's like 6 hours and there's Walthers and there's all types of other guns that I could get, but I don't have a Glock. I will want a Glock eventually. I'm just going to go ahead and buy a Glock. You can get pretty good deals on them.
How do you become more wealthy? You become more grateful.
Nope. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. You're a lying bitch, and I hate you for your lying bitch attitude. You lying fucking bitch.
Studies here in the U.S. show that grateful people earn more money and are better at innovation.
Maybe they're grateful because they earn more money. Maybe they're all like, I'm glad I have this money. And if people don't have money, they're all like, well, I'm grateful I don't have any money. See? You see what you're doing here? You see how you're being dishonest? Because a lot of people are grateful and have nothing.
So the first step to becoming more wealthy is become more grateful. Find the
Pamonkey, the FN, an FN 5.7 would be sick. Like, it would be sick. I would be down. I have an FN 5.7. Do I need one? Mm-mm.
good in your world.
I need something small and like slim that I can carry on me every single day. That's what I need to do. I need to be able to carry it every single day. I need to be able to forget that it's there, you know? And these little skies, these little skies, they're good for that. They weigh maybe, I don't know, 1.2 pounds, something like that. 9-pound trigger pull. There's no safety on it. It's a good little gun. I mean, it's not the greatest. It's actually kind of a piece of shit, but it's fine. It doesn't need to be awesome. It shoots. It does the thing.
Right now, and you'll take a first step.
5.7 ammo is pricey. That's true, right? Like, yeah, it's not. It's like what? You empty your clip into a bad guy, and that was like $35 worth of ammo.
To become more wealthy.
The meta secret to wealth is knowing exactly what you want and then being willing to pay the price to get it. Most people think that wealth just comes out of having this impression.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't matter what you carry. Just carry. Just carry a gun. It doesn't matter. I mean, you don't even have to train all that much. You can go, I can shoot this on the property, so that's nice. But like, just have a gun. Even if you're in like California, I'm not telling you to break the law. But, you know, do it. Do it. Don't be stupid. If you're an American, carry a fucking gun. If you're an Australian, carry a stapler or whatever they let you have. That's really so pathetic, honestly. Like being in the UK. JD, I'm sorry. You're going to have a knife without a tip on it. And I don't know. You can't even have a heavy, like, how do you get anything done? Can you have hammers? Can you have like a jigsaw and stuff like that in the UK? Do they just is every corner padded? Because it might be too sharp and somebody might stab somebody with it. Maybe get rid of the fucking Muslims. You know? The ones that are stabbing everybody. Is that too much? This does that. Anybody I don't want around. This makes them go away instantly. It's like magic.
in your mind that you're going to live an abundant life.
It works.
That's an important piece of it, but it's incomplete. If you look at the word attraction in the law of attraction, the last 6 letters spell action, A-C-T-I-O-N. One of my favorite words is satisfaction. We all want to have satisfaction. And again,
this is nonsense.
in Latin, satis means enough. Enough action, satisfaction, enough action produces the result. You know, I've been very, very successful with the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, and everyone thinks, oh man, you were lucky, you had this great idea. And we use the law of attraction. We visualize and we put up posters around our office that simulate a bestseller list with our name #1. We visualize bookstore.
So what? That doesn't... But you wrote the damn book, didn't you? Like, you visualized all you wanted, but you ended up writing the book and submitting it to a publisher, and that publisher liked it, and then they published it, and then it went out, and then other people liked it, and that was what did it, right? The first step was you thinking about it and visualizing it, but you did end up writing the fucking book, didn't you?
Windows full of Chicken Soup for the Soul books, all of which came true.
Kabuki Tut, exactly. Word salad. You're just spitting word salad at us, right? I can do this. I can word salad people, right? I can make a nice caprese. And, I'll shove it down your throats and be like, here, doesn't this sound smart? You recite that to other people, and they're going to be like, that don't mean shit. But there's a lot of big words in it, so it must be true.
But there's a asking and a believing and a receiving, 3 steps that I think of in the law of attraction. And the second part of believing is taking action. Because if you believe that your action is going to pay off, you'll take the action. So believing doesn't just mean like sitting there going, I believe I can be wealthy. It means...
Scott says, like I said, John, you can get a trigger kit for that Sky and you won't pull as bad because of the heavy double action, LOL. I'm not going to do that. I don't care. Right? It's a 9-pound trigger, right? And I'm not going to be shooting at anything more than maybe 10 to 15 feet away. This is not a gun I'm going to be like sending down the street and like, trying to have ultra accurate hits on, right? This is a last. I don't even carry a second magazine, right? Because if I can't get it done with this, I think it's 9+1. But if I can't get it done with that, with 10 rounds, it's over. It's just over. If I don't have time to like duck behind a car and like drop a clip and then add another one in and then get back into the firefight. All right. I'm not going to be doing that. Right. If I can duck behind the car, I'm going to run. I'm going to run away. This is plenty. I don't need anything. I mean, a trigger kit would be fun and cool and shit like that, but I'm not like, if I get a Glock, I'll think about tinkering with that. But this thing is utilitarian.
Doing the things that produce wealth.
The key to abundance is to act in spite of fear. Act in spite.
Oh, shit. We're out of time. We're out of time, guys. Sorry. I know how you guys like talking to me. And I like talking to you. Or I visualize like talking to you. Or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Thanks for coming. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you guys learned something. But if you didn't, I don't care either. Get a gun. Go into debt if you have to. They're not expensive. This was like $200. That's not expensive, right? It's not expensive. Get a gun. I think Glocks are like $500 or $600, but yeah. Get a gun. If you have the money to buy a Rolex, get a gun. Get more guns. Anyways, guys, thanks for coming. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening and do all those things that make me proud of you. Be good cult members. Be good cultists. Be armed. That's very important. I want you guys to survive because I don't know. What else would I do without you? I just can't imagine. I just can't. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful night. Be strong. Be faithful. Do those things that you want to do. Be grateful. Be happy. Right? I'm a wonderful self-help guy. I'm a self-help coach. Anyways, get out there, drink a lot of water, get a good night's sleep, and take care of yourselves because I care about you too. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love ya. Good night.
I'm an incredible soul, unhinged and enraged like a bulldog's fierce growl. I'm spitting fire, burning through these trees, questioning the world, unraveling conspiracies. Talking about Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster too. Government lies, they're feeding me their goo. I'm diving deep into this rabbit hole, uncovering the truth, setting fire to their control. I got small nipples, but my voice is loud, born like thunder in this crazy crowd. They say I'm crazy, but I call it woke, unraveling the madness with every word I spoke.